Hi, I'm Tom Stevenson, and welcome to Study Tips from a professor that wants you to learn faster, better, smarter, with less effort. In this series, we've been looking at some of the different study tips on how to learn things with this world of change that we're living in more effectively, more efficiently. Now, the timing right now, I'm not sure when you're watching this video, but for me, it's towards the end of the semester. It's actually really towards the end of the semester. Exams are mostly finished, and students might have the odd one left to do. But I think at this point, you kind of know how you've done in this semester, and particularly after you've written your final exam, usually your marks are up within a short period of time, and I think it's a great time to really review and do some reflection and refocus on things going forward. This is like a really good time. As I said, I'm a professor of construction management, and in construction we deal with projects. And certain phases within a project, certain milestones can be good to do this process. And of course, at the end of a project can be very worthwhile to do this. I think it's always worthwhile to do it iteratively as you're going along, but let's face it, we're here and things have happened. So let's look at these three areas: review, reflection, and focus. Firstly, review. Review what the major things that you did in regards to learning this past period. What were the things that you did? Were you in a program and you did a semester of courses? And how do these courses really fit into your long-term learning? If your goal is to get a degree in construction management, how did they fit in? Where are the pieces going to be coming up? Is there going to be successor courses to these courses that you took? Are there prerequisites for things that maybe you learned from this semester that you need to take forward? Trying to just get an idea of the puzzle of what you've recently learned and how it may fit into the next semester, the semester after that, and even into your career as a whole. What were some of the things that you actually found helpful, enjoyable? What things caused some stress, maybe a little bit of anxiety, right? And then the next thing is, what were the results? And there could be positive, neutral, and negative results across the board. You could have different courses that, this was a positive thing, this course was not. You could have positive group interactions or negative group interactions or neutral. So at this point, you're just reviewing, you're trying to see where you were and how far you've come. And so it's just taking that moment. We often don't do that. We just move on to the next thing. In construction, we often don't review our projects at the end, which is a shame, and it should be done. I've done that in other videos. And then we move on to the next project. And did we really learn that much? There's some things I'm sure we learned, but could we have learned more and better improvements, more incremental improvements taking place in the future if we had done this review process? So this is important from that perspective. The next step is reflection. All right, so we reviewed, now you're trying to see, well, okay, this course went well, this course went well, and these three courses didn't go so well. So what were some of the patterns and habits in the courses that went well? Were they just easier courses? That happens. Was there group work in those courses or not? So you kind of can pick out certain things. I've had I had one student come to me, and it was like in third year at the very end, and they weren't happy. They felt that they had been doing all of the work in their group for the last 2 years. Well, I had them for this most recent semester, not this one, but prior to, and it was sort of like, okay, so you've been in the course program 3 years and you've been working with the same group. Question would be, why? So you reflect on what are the patterns and habits. Well, I have this habit and pattern that I see that when I'm with this group, I do all the work. Now, maybe you could realign the group. Maybe you could get more effort by adjusting things if you really wanted to stay in that group. But I don't think you should complain about it after the fact. You've got nobody to blame but yourself. And probably you didn't do any reflection till the very end of the program. So this could have been done much sooner. You could have looked for a different group. Nobody holds groups from semester to semester, accountabilities that way. So same thing with construction projects. You got a team. If there's a problem with the team ongoing, you try to work that out and resolve that. You know, Jim Collins has this phrase to get the right people on the bus, get the right people in the right seats with the right responsibilities, and everybody knows what they need to do. But it also has in it, get the wrong people off the bus. If they don't fit, then at a certain point, they don't fit. And the same thing goes with learning. If you're working with groups, there are some very effective groups. And I've seen that over time and period where groups that really sync and work well, they build strong learning habits. And even the weakest in the group rises substantially because they learn from who they hang around with. So what are the patterns and habits that made the positive results happen? Can you apply these tools to other areas? So something that was in the positive area, why didn't you do it in the negative area? Is there an opportunity? There might not be. One might be more report oriented, one might be more mathematical, and it takes a little bit of a different kind of set of tools that way. But certainly there are synergies across the different areas where you see positive patterns occurring and those types of things. So really getting in and understanding those elements is important. And then for the negative results, all right, so the ones that really didn't go out that well, you want to flush out the cause. Why did it not go well? That's the 5 whys. We start with that. Well, it didn't go well because there was very poor group interactions. Why was there poor group interactions? We never really set up any accountabilities. There wasn't clearly set goals. Why was there not clearly set goals? We just went straight into doing the project. Why did you go straight into doing the project? We missed the first couple of meeting time periods and the project was due, so we just started on it, right? We didn't really have an overall game plan. So you're in reactive mode pretty much the whole way through. Keep asking why? Because maybe the group is salvageable. Maybe if we put in some protocols, we could do better the next time. Or maybe we want to look for another group. But you definitely want to try to find out what the cause of the negative results were. You know, you're working full time, you had a few events go on. All right, so could I time block my calendar in a better way that I could build certain habits? Could I get up earlier in the morning and do a bunch of work? Could I study on the public transit on the way to school? Where could I habit stack that I could get some benefits out of things? I got to travel anyways. If I can do it while I'm on the train or on the bus, that's good, right? You're looking for time periods that you can really sort of take advantage of with that. And so you really got to get like a root cause, like what was my issue here? What was causing the problem? And if you get that, then that's that refocus time that I already started to talk a little bit about there. But if you don't really get at the root cause, then you kind of don't know what it is, right? Like for that individual that was telling me about the group for so many years, right? If you really went to the root cause that it's the group, you would have changed groups 3 or 4 semesters ago, and now you would have gotten with a better group. If it's that dysfunctional, you would have gotten to a better group at that point. So don't get stuck with something. It's the same thing with a habit, a study habit or a missing habit. Don't keep doing it and expect to get a different results, right? Einstein's definition of insanity, supposedly, right? So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect the same result, that's the definition there. We've got to change things. We've got to adjust things. We've got to improve things. So do some research then. If you understand what it is, what can you do to improve it? If you want to stick with, in my example, with a group, all right, so what can we learn about having better performing teams? Maybe I'll read a book, Patrick Lencioni's The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Maybe I can take some things away from that. It's been talked about enough times, that book, and so maybe it's a good area to start. So you want to look at, well, team building, because actually in our field, construction, it's all about working in teams. So if you can't do it in the college, it's going to be difficult to do it outside. And take ownership for these things. It's okay to say it's everybody else's fault, right? There's people that they move from team to team to team, but they always have problems. Well, then at that point, you got to say, all right, so the problem is not necessarily the team. It could be me and how I interact with the teams. And you got to take those ownership. If you don't take ownership, you're not going to improve. So that's important. And if you do that and you identify where the weaknesses are, then you can start to build a plan going forward, doing some background research, and also use the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle is the 20-80 rule. In this instance, I would be looking at it, all right, so I've identified like 10 things. What's the one thing, if I did it, would make the most difference? My example was teams, working with a better team. How do I do that? That might be the focus. Or improving my team, that might be the focus. You're looking for something that you're going to put effort into, that effort is going to give you 4 times the result. And believe me, there is stuff there. I said identify 10 things. There's probably 2 of them that if you did those 2 in the next period of time, it would greatly improve you. If you try to do all 10 at once, it's just too much. But if you start with 2 and you build those and then you keep working on it, and over time, then you become really good. This is what I want you to do. Now that it's the end of the semester, I want you to review, I want you to reflect, and I want you to refocus going forward. This is my time. I do it constantly at this time of year. At the end of semesters, because I'm semester based, I'm constantly looking for this period of time as I can calm myself a little bit now that sort of the busyness is over, and it really helps me going forward. So I hope this gives you some fuel to actually, if you've stayed this long, you're actually really looking for how you can improve, and I wish you all the best. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, notifications. You can check others in this learning playlist. It may give you some reference points and other ideas for the next semester as a starting point. I'm Tom Stevenson, wishing you a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.